Why am I so negative? Why am I so pessimistic all the time in my videos? Look at that sky. Looks like a painting. Why am I? Well, I'm actually a really optimistic person. However, I almost have like a childlike optimism about things, about people, about situations, and I'm usually let down. So I get to be too pessimistic. I'm like one way or the other. Like, if you go back and watch a lot of Mike Tyson is I relate to Mike Tyson a lot. Sounds weird, but he's like, it's all or nothing, extreme or nothing, and that's how I am about a lot of different things. It's what I found out in life is once, like, for me, I start getting hopeful, I start getting confident, I start getting happy, boom, reality sets in. And it's never like complete devastation. You know, for like instance, whenever I would get my taxes done, and like this time around, I was thinking I'm gonna have to owe. And I get myself all anxiety, get myself all worked up, thinking that I was gonna owe or something, and it turns out I didn't know. In fact, I got extra, because I paid too much in, I guess. Man, taxes next year are gonna be pretty interesting. We'll see. Yeah, I end up getting very, very negative, and that's some of the contrast that people probably see in some of my videos where I seem like really upbeat, you know, really positive, maybe a glimpse of positivity, hopeful, and then you'll see like it's like a constant back and forth, and it sucks, you know. Yeah. Something that kind of like gathered my attention was the whole thought of the chosen ones. I started seeing that on YouTube, people proclaiming they're the chosen ones or whatever, and they start saying, like, you see these videos like, how do you know if you're a chosen one, or top like 10 reasons you could be a chosen one. The basic premise of it is that God is selected you, and you have to go through a lot of turmoil more than everybody else, because you're just, like, I guess, being tested, and it's a good thing. And I don't think that I'm a chosen one, but I'm not that special of a person. There's nothing really that special. So, but however, I do relate in some aspects when it comes to, you know, constantly being tested. Like, I always have to, I can't get too excited. You know, you'll see, I mean, if you go back at some of my Bitcoin predictions, where I'm like, man, this thing could, like, you know, FOMO, like, it can go up into like 3 million and 5 million. And I haven't been the only one. You know, I've seen other people predict that, like, it could have went up that high. I'm not saying it still can't anytime soon, but I don't know. I think that a lot of countries are skeptical. So it was a big letdown when we announced the Bitcoin reserve. I guess it's because just because he signed an executive order doesn't mean it's going to stay. You need it more into law. There's legislation going with it, but yeah. So, you know, obviously I've kind of felt let down. I was like, I mean, that would be so cool if, like, all of a sudden, like, all of my financial problems are pretty much fixed and I don't have to God. But, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, I accept the fact that if things don't work out and I have to you know, sell all my Bitcoin and eventually go bankrupt. If that happens, it happens. Like, you know, it's not because like I'm not trying to work hard. It's not because I'm not trying to find a job. It's just, you know, bad cards, I guess. And that's been pretty much my whole life. Bad dealt cards to me. You know, whether I was in some type of awareness and consciousness before I was born and I picked this life. I don't know. I try to be open-minded. I don't know. This life kind of, you know what I've kind of felt like the reason why this life, it's been hard, but it's not. Other people obviously have it harder. I get it. There's a lot of people that are like way more worse off than I am. I know. I don't mean to make people disparage other people's issues. I don't. It's not that, but I feel like I have been through a lot. Yeah, it's just kind of continuously with the pain and suffering, you know, like that's how it's kind of felt. So, you know, but yeah, it's just kind of like, can't get myself too hopeful about things because get punched in the mouth pretty easy. Yeah, you know, and the whole idea, like, you know how excited I was when I found out I can upload my music to Spotify. Like, I was like a little kid, like, no way, that's so cool. I mean, but didn't do nothing. It's cool, you know. I'm just not meant to be seen, and you know, might be different in the future, but for right now, it's just not meant for that. I'm not meant for that. Don't know what I'm meant for. I kind of wish that I would have some what it feels like is just lack of opportunities, you know what I mean? Like, what it feels like is like all the doors are shut. Everything. For the longest time, it felt like there was only like one door open. I have to go the same path. Always have to go down only this path. There's nothing else available for me. And for somebody like me, it's been this place isn't meant for somebody like me, because I'm not an expert at anything. I'm not a specialty in anything, and I take you know, some things I have more of interest in other things, but I don't know, I just get bored, I guess, and I get burnt out really quick just doing the same thing over and over. And trust me, doing the jobs I've done, I've forced myself to keep going, doing those repetitive jobs. It makes me wonder if, like, if I've been reincarnated, I'm wondering if, like, I was like some type of a king in the past, somebody with like a prominent figure. I've always kind of felt like, you know, like I'm one of those people that is this is kind of weird, but I've always felt like I'm, you know, maybe I was switched at birth. I wasn't switched at birth or nothing, but like kind of had that feeling. I always felt like an outcast. I feel like I don't belong wherever I go. Anywhere. I don't relate to anybody. Some people in here I relate to. That's why it kind of feels like I've been using this as, you know, YouTube, the content creators, is almost like friends, man. Like, seriously, it's almost like like when people watch TV or something, they probably feel like that person's a part of their life, and they might not be like personally a part of their life, but you know, that's, you know, when famous people pass away, people are like really affected by it, even though that person who passed away doesn't even know that you know, whoever is watching them and is affected by their passing, they never even heard of them or never met them, or but you develop such a connection just by watching a TV show or listening to somebody's music or whatever. And that's kind of like what I've been doing, and I'm trying to open up more and just kind of being out of the matrix as much and into real world. And I think that's kind of like where the path is leading for me. It's just kind of less internet, less social media. Like I get a glimpse of hope of, oh man, maybe it's the narcissism in me. But I want to progress. I'm trying to build a brand. That's what I've tried to do. I mean, I've utterly failed. But I feel very accomplished of what I've done on my own without any help, doing everything on my own, whether it's making music or books or videos. Even if they're low quality, still I feel accomplished. But yes, I don't like to be negative. I'm actually like a really positive person, for real. It's just I just have too high expectations, and that's all. I have too high expectations in everything and people. And then that's why I go the other way around. It's almost like a bipolar thing. And I know I'm not bipolar. I know that's not it. But this is like the extreme. Because like I want to think the best in people. I don't want to think the worst. I want to, think like the situation is going to be really good, and this the plans I've made are going to work. But it's hard. A lot of my predictions are not going to be spot on, but they might rhyme with something I'm saying, when I talk about like the dollar's going to be hyperinflated, maybe we'll get an off ramp or something. Well, I do think that the dollar will be hyperinflated, but I don't know when. I don't think it's going to happen right now. I think that when they start a printing press up again, or they're gonna have to, unless we start cutting. Nobody wants to hear that shit. I've already talked about it enough. Yeah, it's a it's just like I made in my last video, basically I know I'm talking into the void, basically. Nobody really should be watching my videos that long. Nobody should be like hanging on an edge. And I don't expect it anymore. I used to. I used to expect, oh man, there's gonna be a lot of people watching this, or this tweet's gonna get a lot of attention. Now I don't expect nothing. You know what I mean? Just kind of. It's hard to plan, dude. It's really hard to plan for the future, man, because you don't know what it is. I mean, it's always been like that, but it's just so unstable. It really is. And in fact, there's rich people that really love recessions. And it's weird to have rich people root for people to get hurt. Because, like, recessions happen, usually it hurts the people at the bottom the most. Those are the people that usually get laid off. It's not the people in the middle. It's not the people in the office. It's usually the people at the bottom who actually do, and they need their job. It's not like they want to do the job and because they like it. Nobody likes doing that crap. So, maybe the internet is just full of shit. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a bunch of bullshit. Maybe it's just a bunch of propaganda. I have noticed, like, and what has turned me off from the Red Pill community is the constant harping on women, and I do it myself, but like they find one little thing and they start to cope with it. And like one woman doing this, like, oh, now they find one woman crying or something, and they post it and they commentate about it. Oh, things are changing. Oh, they regret their decisions. And it's kind of like, dude, that's one person, man. You know, how is it so different when I come out in public? If people aren't having kids or you know, being married, how comes I see so many people, you know, having partners? You know, it makes me wonder if like everything on here is bullshit. I don't know. Maybe the statistics are bullshit. Maybe everything on here is bullshit. Maybe it's put here to try to divide us. Maybe it's a different country or a sophisticated AI that we don't know about that just wants, you know, one world order. You know, I don't try to put out propaganda. That's the last thing I try to put out. You know, people make mistakes. You know, you hear there's so much different misinformation, and there's people that you try to trust, and you might get some bad information, or they might get some bad information about something, and they, you know, repost it. I try to be fair. I know I don't sound fair. I sound like I hate the Democrats. Well, yeah, I'm not too fond of what they've become, but I just see the way that they've been leading, and I don't like it. I don't think that they were doing a good job. I think they're doing a horrible job. I think a lot of them are corrupt, and obviously the Republicans are too. You know, there's a lot of bad Republicans as well. But you know, you go onto Fox News and then you hear, oh, the Democrats are shit, and then you go on to like CNN or MSNBC, oh, the Republicans are shit, Trump is shit. You don't really just hear any like fairness. Just like, yes, you criticize Trump, okay? There's definitely criticism to be, you know, to happen. You know, that's what happens. You're a president. You're not going to make every decision 100% perfect. Nobody is. But then it's like, okay, then you can like give him some praise when he does some good too. You know, like. Yeah, I just feel like there's been so much brainwashing all around. Especially like women are easily brainwashed, I think. Like the classic thing is, you know, you got two friends. One's a single 21-year-old, and the other one's had been in a relationship with a loving boyfriend that treats her well. But you know, that 21-year-old single girl wants the other one to go to bars and party with her because she doesn't want to be alone. She doesn't want to be a loser. So it's like a crabs in a bucket thing. And she'll start like start talking bad about her boyfriend, trying to put like things in her head so they break up because she's miserable herself. And I think that happens a lot. And I think that a lot of people are just too scared to say anything, or they either are apathetic or they're just too scared. Older women used to hold young women in line. That was part of the deal. Obviously, strong father figures. You know, the whole idea of taking women's rights. I mean, listen, man. I just think if stay-at-home moms, you know, being a mother, if that's like your primary thing, and it's kind of looked down on in this society. It almost seems like women who do OnlyFans are propped up, and I mean that's what you see on social media, right? That's why all these women put like their ass pictures all over the internet, and I'm kind of just annoyed with them. Just the women in general. Not all women are bad. One of my best friends is a woman, and I've actually like pretty much at this point all my friends are women. So yeah, you could say I'm friend zoned, but I'm not really friend zoned, trust me. But but I don't really care. You can think I am. That's fine. Call me an incel, friend zone. No. I've actually like always liked getting along better with women my whole life. I mean, it's probably because I was basically raised around my mom and sister and didn't really have a father figure. So, man, it's been really hard for me, honestly. Like, I'm actually pretty proud of myself, everything I've accomplished. And everything, if I laid everything out, people would be like, that sucks. You suck. But if you understand like where I came from and walked in my shoes, you might be singing a different tune. Kind of like that song from, was it Outkast back in the day? Was it Outkast? Outlast? I forgot. You don't know what it's like until you really want to know what it's like. I forgot how it goes. It was a very good song. I wasn't too big on it, but the lyrics hit home pretty hard. You don't know. You know, it's easy for us to judge, and that's what we are. We're very judgy nowadays. It's pretty unfortunate, but I think that social media has done that. I think that like people should pretty much use social media as like just small groups, man. Not try to like get famous off of social media. I don't think the regular person could handle it. Because like, you know, we like to live our basic lives. We like to go wherever we want, but like, you know, you end up getting famous and having some type of fame, and people start coming up to you. Maybe they'll attack you because they don't like you. And it's just kind of like, I think social media, I think that social media is definitely, after a certain age, it should be okay. But, you know, it probably should be 18. You should probably, you know, be an adult till you can even use it. And then you hear like confliction of, well, I can't be anonymous. Well, you're not really anonymous. The government can find out who you are anytime they want. I guess, unless you have like a different UPN or whatever the hell it is. IPO, I don't know what all the computer lingo. But yeah, I mean, having like a Facebook where it's private and you just have like your immediate friends and family, not having like an old boyfriend hitting you up or an old girlfriend hitting you up, or like some famous rock star that he's in town on Instagram. You know, oh, you got 2,000 followers. Look at this girl. Oh man, I'm gonna get in her DMs. And then of course the girl's like, oh my god, this guy's got status. This guy wants to talk to me. He wants to hang out with me. Screw this guy. And then, you know, he just hangs out with her one time, and then that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate how things are right now, and you know, it's kind of telling that you know, the people who create social media don't let their kids use it. That's pretty telling. I don't think that the internet's bad all the way. I think that there's definitely a lot of good things that should be, you know, especially I think that YouTube could be a lot of be very educational. You know, I think that it's a very educational tool. But I just think when people start to have a family and try to settle down, it's just better to have less. less, because it's just a distraction, man. It's just an added like you're like inviting other people in your life, basically. Like, you know, there's a few people who watch my videos, and you know, I'm basically inviting them in my life by me just talking, by doing this. And I just think that you know, what is that TLC song, man? Like, don't go chasing waterfalls. You know, that's a big thing. Like please stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. Just like, you're small, just stay small. Not try to like get huge. And some people can do it. Some people are okay with that. For me, if I was to ever hypothetically get big, I don't know how I would react. You know, I probably would react kind of like Kurt Cobain. You know, it'd probably be really exciting, and then I'd be like, all this attention, all these eyes on me, a lot of pressure. Kind of get shocked. I don't know, because I kind of felt that on my my TikTok, my first TikTok, when I started like popping off really quick. Started putting out videos that had 100,000 views. You know, you get to the point where it's like, dude, every video I put out is gonna get 20,000 views at least. It's pretty crazy feeling, man. Even if like they're all fake, or like half of them are bots or whatever, it's still pretty crazy to see like those big numbers, man. And then that's why I say we should be able to replicate it in a safe manner, to just kind of use AI for social. I mean, like seriously, when you're like talking to somebody, what are you doing on social media? Are you like FaceTiming? No. You're usually like looking at somebody's video or their pictures or some type of tweet or something they wrote, and then you're just like responding, but you don't know. You don't know if like who put that out. You don't know anything. It could be a robot. It could be a dude posing as a woman. You really don't know. So to me, I think that social media would just be more fun if I knew it was all AI and I was the main character, kind of like a video game, as opposed to like trying to hustle and try to get some notoriety. And like I said, if it goes good, it's kind of fun, man. It's kind of fun, but I guess then you kind of hit that wall, and then, you know, in my experience, being pretty much limited on every site I use, probably because I use this, I'm not gonna go into depth about that, but yeah, it's a frustrating thing. And people, you know, you're a narcissist, and I really don't think I'm a narcissist though, man. I think that I've actually I think I was way more narcissistic when like 10 years ago. I don't really feel like that narcissistic vibe to me. I don't really take selfies, man. I hardly ever take selfies, to be honest, and I used to take a lot more selfies than I do now. And you can see that off of my Facebook for sure. You know, showing everything off. Here's a selfie, look at this, look at me in this, look at me and my family, look at this, look at us. I don't really do that much anymore. I really don't even want to take selfies, which sounds weird since I make YouTube videos. Oh, this guy's a narcissist. He makes YouTube videos. Yeah, I guess you could say I'm a narcissist. I mean, anybody who uses social media, unless it's just like I said, to kind of just like for your own little tribe, limit for your own little tribe. Don't let other people be involved. You know, because we're all spread out. Back in the old days, you know, people wouldn't need to take pictures because they would be right there witnessing it. But we've all separated from our families and wanting to do great for ourselves for what? For what? So I can say I have like a $200,000 house, or 200,000. That's rich to me. Okay, so I can say I have $1 million house with like 6 bedrooms, and I got a really nice car and this Barbie doll wife. So you guys could be all envious of me. So you can sit there and brag, oh, look at my kid, he's doing this. But then what? I'm not really by my family because I'm off trying to, you know, do great things to try to, I don't know. There's one thing if your family is poor and like you go and yeah, but if you're just doing it for ego and things like that, like there's nothing wrong with just being in your town, like being a townie. What's so bad about that? Oh, it's boring. I guess, but at least you have your family. You know, at least you have some security. At least you have some trust. You know. This is honestly, we're living in some of the most weirdest times, unnatural times for humans ever. I mean, there's probably like some things, you know, like, okay, like, obviously for the elites back then, you know, Marie Antoinette, you know, she was Austrian, and she married the Prince of France at the time. So, like, yeah, she had to leave everyone behind, her family. But, like, that is such a rarity. Such a rarity. This whole, just, like, leaving our families. So divided. So far away from each other. So unnatural. This is unnatural, man. And then communicating with your family on here. FaceTiming them. Oh, man, like, when I first FaceTimed my family, it was so weird. So weird. So awkward. I mean, I really didn't know them that well or anything, but so I just didn't know what to say. But yeah, it's such a weird thing to FaceTime your family. It really is, man. I don't know. You get used to it, but like when I first did it, such a weird thing. Don't know what to say. Very awkward. Now, kind of adapted to it. I think that family should try to come back together. I think that's the best thing that people should do, is try to come back to your families, try to live by your families, try to spend more time with your families. That's what people should do. That's what people should strive for going forward. Quit trying to chase waterfalls when you don't have to. If you have to, you know, you're born in poverty and there's no one else to help you. It's like, yeah, if I can go make money doing something crazy and help my family, of course, you know, kind of like people come here and they work here and they send money back home, kind of like that, because their family's really poor. But you know, for what? Like, oh, so my parents can puff their chests. Oh, I'm proud of you. Well, you should be proud of me anyway, because I'm doing the right thing. Whether I just become a townie who fixes cars or am a plumber in the little small town, or if I'm some big executive, you should be proud of me either way. But no, that's our society looks down on the guy that decided to stay. Oh, be more like your, you know, if you have a brother or something. Oh, you should be more like your brother. No. I wonder which brother would sit by their parents when they're about to pass and be there more. You know, you could have like the brother or sister that's a big wig that lives in the big city. Then they come there and they'll say hi or something, but that sibling that decided not to venture too far and just accept just having a normal life. And I think that a lot of people would probably be a lot happier if they tried to just accept, like, it's okay to be a normal person, it's okay to be a regular person. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have to be a real famous person, I don't have to be rich. There's more than one way to be rich. Unfortunately, in this society, it seems like people just care about the dollar, but having family that cares about you is it means the world. There's a lot of people that don't have that, man, and I think it's gonna happen more and more. I think that women are gonna get affected really hard by this, and yes, men, of course, too, both. The thing that's different about men is, like, we can have kids when we're old. A lot of women can't. You get to a certain age, you might be able to do some things in the future, but the time is, like, when you hit 40, like, you're pretty much retired at that point. You don't really want to have kids after age 35, and that's why women would have them as quick as possible. In the past, they would go out, have them really young, and have a bunch of them. What's wrong with that? I think that's actually better if you can find a good man, instead of, like, oh, I need to have, like, the perfect hunk to try to, because I care what everyone thinks. That's the thing, is caring what everyone else thinks. Well, the woman shouldn't have to worry about being independent if she finds a good man. Well, she's not going to find a good man because chances are she didn't have a good man raising her. We've let women down. We really have. Men have let women down. You wonder why the laws are the way they are in child support and family court is because of shitty men in the past. So they had to implement those laws. The hookup culture. You wonder why women are the way they are now, how promiscuous is, well, the hookup culture. That helped out a lot. And who started all that? It wasn't women being promiscuous. Like, that's the last thing when women wanted to be known as being promiscuous. But now it's like, I don't care because I want to get those views. Yeah. Live life in the fast lane. And at some point you will self-reflect and be like, I don't care about this. That's why I would say, listen, if you really want a kid, if I had a daughter or daughters, I would be like, if you really want a kid, you should have them now. Fine, not just with anybody, but you should really try to get that knocked out as quick as possible. Have your kids, have your family, and when they get to be older, then you can do the more girl boss thing that you want to do. Like, you're not gonna sit here. Why do women want to be independent though? Why is that? Because they don't trust men. That's why. Why should they? Why should they trust us? Look at what we've done. I'm included. Look what we've done. The hookup culture. Deadbeat dads. I need to upgrade my family and get a different family. I need to replace this family with a different one. I'm sure there was a couple women that destroyed their families, but it was mostly men that did it. And this is why I say, like, It all comes back to us. You know what's wrong with our society? If we're supposed to be the leaders, and we've always been until recently, you can put that on us. And all the PUA guys, the red pill guys, are like, oh, it's cool to hook up, man. Yeah. Cool, man. That's cool, dude. Well, you're just kind of fucking over the next guy. You know, somebody that, since you're not taking it serious, somebody else might have. And I understand the concept now, you know. It's like it doesn't really matter at this point with these generations that are women are pretty much just destroyed. It doesn't mean that the future ones have to be. The big thing for me when I was I wanted better for my kids than I had it. I've always told myself I wasn't ever gonna have kids anyway. That was my thing. Probably pretty I never wanted kids, man. Never wanted. I remember leaving my dad's, going back to my mom's on the airplane and thinking to myself, I'm never gonna have kids. I don't want them to go through this. And lo and behold, my kids end up kind of going through it, but it kind of was the opposite way, because at least they had me. And I just think that, like, being raised by a single mom is extremely hard on the kids. It's extremely hard on everybody, the single mom and everybody. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, it's so weird as, you know, like guys would be told, you're dicking with your dick. It's funny to see, it's not funny, I think it's fucked up to see that women are thinking with their pussies. It's kind of weird. You know, like this guy might be just an ugly guy like me, you know, just like a regular loser, you know. But society, look what society values. How do you know that society is not really the loser? How do you know that that regular guy that just goes to work and is just a regular plumber or whatever, but he takes care of his family, does the right thing? How do you know that society is not the loser? What? Because of everyone thinks it's that's how all these people think. Like, look down on that guy because he's not an executive, he's not a CEO, he's not famous, he doesn't have high status. Maybe society's the problem. Maybe it's not that guy. But it is what it is, man. I definitely think that people need religion, and that's why they're picking politics right now. Maybe I'm included in that. Yeah. I swear to God, I did see, like, when I was high, I came out here the other, like, couple of months ago when I was smoking weed. I went the other way, and I saw this dark figure just kind of just standing there looking at me, and I kind of thought, like, it was just a person or something. But then it went away, and then, like, came back in the same spot. It looked like it was just, like, staring at me, and I was walking that. Dude, that thing, like, kind of freaked me out, man. I'm not, but I was high. I know I seen that shit. I know I seen it. Sounds weird, I know. Anyway, kind of glad that I'm leaving this place. Kind of not. Kind of seems like I just wasted my time, wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of energy. Wonder if I would have stayed where I was at, how things would have been different. Because I didn't like my job. It's not like, I don't know if I would have even stayed there. Part of the reason why I stayed there is because of the the thought of leaving, because I really didn't like it. I wasn't happy. I didn't like doing that job. But I don't like doing any job. I don't belong here. I feel like I belong here. Not to say like taking myself out or nothing, but I just don't feel like I belong here, man. It just like things are just should be a little bit easier at this point in my life, and just not. Things the ball should be going my way now, you know, instead of me having to still put in my dues. That's how it feels like. I'm still putting in dues. You know, when you start some new or earn your stripes or whatever. I kind of feel like I'm still having to do that. I'm just tired. I'm just tired, man. I don't want to do it no more. I want to thrive. I don't feel like I've ever thrived on this planet. Just in video games, on easy mode. You know, when everything just going your way. Not everything's going to go your way, obviously, but it just seems like more things are going good than bad. And it feels like I'm always having to adapt. That's what it feels like. I'm always having to constantly adapt and trying to deflect the bullshit constantly. I know that's what everyone probably does, but it just feels like, man, come on. I'm not going to keep doing this for the rest of my life. I'm not going to keep battling for the rest of my life. Like, I'm just not. I want to be able to enjoy, you know? I want to be able to relax. Even though I've had the last 3 months off of work, I still haven't been able to relax. I can't go do things I want to do. This has pretty much been sitting and waiting. That's what it's been. Sitting and waiting. Yeah, I want to thrive, man. I want things to go my way. Just don't feel like they have been, and I feel like I've been just scraping as much as I possibly can for, I don't know, nothing really. That's what it kind of feels like. It's unfortunate. I don't think that this is natural for people to feel like this. But it could be me just shooting myself in the foot as well. I just feel trapped, you know? I feel like I should be out there more and just shouldn't be restricted with finances as much. But maybe that's everybody except for rich people. Sun setting. Why the heck do I like it when it's gloomy? I don't understand that. I remember when I was a kid, I think my mom thought I was like a Eeyore or something. The donkey off of Winnie the Pooh. I used to like Eeyore, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I liked living in Washington State I liked it being gloomy. I like days where I can, you know, kind of stay in. Like, one of the coolest winters was a couple of winters ago in, you know, Missouri, where I didn't have to go anywhere that day. It was just hard snow, knowing that I didn't have to go nowhere, having everything I needed, and just relaxing and being cozy. God, that sounds feminine, doesn't it? I don't care. You know, I'm domesticated, just like most men are, whether they want to admit it or not. You know, if Andrew Tate was such a savage, he wouldn't be living in a mansion. We're all pretty much domesticated. If you look at like the gladiators, they used to fight to the death, and now modern day gladiators just kind of they hit each other hard on the football field, but you can see how it's a lot different. You know, the boomers call the millennials and Gen Z soft. Well, I'm pretty sure their parents and their parents before them probably thought that they were soft as well. And we've just been getting softer and softer, and it might be continuing. I don't know. I don't know if this is like the hard times. I don't think that we can really handle much hard times. I don't know. To some extent, sure. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I never know what I'm talking about. I'm just crazy, I guess. But yeah, I think I'm gonna cut this video off, and if anybody got any value out of this, hit the thumbs up and leave a like and a share and a comment. That helps the algorithm in the YouTube channel. So fucking gay.